You bring him into the show, and Jimmy will ask me another question.
Okay. From Tom Kopech.
Okay, skip that question. Go to the next one because that's a good question for
Trevor
Jesse.
Hunter guy. Never heard of him. Never heard of her.
Yeah.
How much gas is too much gas when racing in the desert? Oh, no.
Did you hear about this?
I heard him post that he can't wait for electric bikes come along, and I didn't quite but now I do. I saw his post where he said e-bikes can't come soon enough for electric motorcycles.
Why? I think his joke there was he was hoping everybody else would run out too. His partner, like I think is likes to use a lot of gas and a lot of tires and makes a lot of dust. And so they managed they were probably the only people to run out of gas in that section, right?
Okay,
I don't know. I didn't get the full race
I actually
report.
didn't know he ran out of gas till
I was
now.
going to make a joke. I had a thing here that said I don't even know what it said, but I made a joke about Trevor. But he answered his own question. Because he sent me a picture of a plugged fuel injector. Because he calls me all the time. He's like, "Hey Jimmy, this bike's doing this." I'm like, is it spark or is it gas? Okay, it's gas. Well, we're at this and that. And he asked, and I go, "It's the fuel injector's plugged." A week later, he goes, "Yeah, I switched the fuel injector and it runs fine now." And I'm like, "Well, go give it to your partner and see if you can run out of gas."
There you go.
So,
anyways, that's a way to save gas.
Jesse Ziegler, welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Why do we only get your voice?
I don't know. My camera's on.
It's something to do with my producer. He's new.
Okay. I have the same problem with my podcast show.
Do you guys do any cameras on yours?
No, that sounds too complicated.
You should do on Dakar, the Dakar Daily Show, which is Jesse
Dakar Rally Daily.
Dakar Rally Daily. That isn't on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. It's the best show that's not on at that time. Okay, good. At least I'm still better. My podcast is better than your podcast.
I need to get on this program because this is way easier than waking up at 4:30 in the morning.
I can see you on the other screen, so you've got a nice background. It's almost as good as ours. It looked professional, so we should try to get that up there. Or if you do it, you're gonna break the whole show, right, Logan?
No, I got it.
You got it fixed.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
That's a 10-foot banner, and that is the only part of my garage that's clean. Is 10 feet in the corner.
That was my second iteration of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. Was me in my garage, but I didn't even have a banner. I really struggled to find that clean section. But
It's
I think
it's fake. The rest of it's a shit show.
Well, hey, welcome to the show, Jesse. Again, the
Honored to
Dakar Rally Daily podcast. And if you are not listening to this every day, you need to go subscribe to it. It's brought to you by Climb.
It is.
Jesse, you probably don't know this, but I wear Climb gear all the time, and I mostly wear Climb Dakar gear. So it's funny how that segue just transfers right in.
It's funny how this keeps going on. It's my favorite Climb gear too, by far.
Yeah.
I don't even know why they bother making other gear.
We are down the home stretch for probably could be one of the most exciting Dakars in history as far as not knowing what's going to happen, having so many guys so close together with just 3 days to go. And I can only imagine it's going to be I think you said it just a moment ago, a shit show.
It is going to be it's going to be dramatic, that's for sure. As much as you can predict Dakar rally racing, as you know very well, there's some stuff shaking out for a perfect storm for some shenanigans to happen. But like you said, I think the top 6 are all within 10 minutes of each other with 2 really big days to go. Big days, like 750K today, right now, that they're starting on.
Yeah, I clicked on the map and they're riding a liaison, while we're doing this janky.
They started at 4
podcast.
a.m. Saudi time this morning. 4 a.m. They got on the bikes. I think they set their alarms at 2:30 to get all geared up, take off on the highway for a nice, couple 100-mile ride before they have to start their race day, which is crazy because it's the 10th day in a row they've been doing that.
Yeah, I don't remember Like I remember long liaisons when I was doing it when you were in Europe. You rode like literally you rode all day long. You rode from here to San Francisco, some sort of eight,
Yep.
9 hour ride with a 45 minute at the most special. And actually, most of them were like 10 minutes, 10 or 15. They were kind of just for show, not really
Yeah.
for anything else. And I know in South America, the liaisons and stuff were just getting out of control. It was
Yeah.
that they were having so much liaison and so little racing, and it's good to see them bringing a lot of racing stages back. I don't really know how populated Saudi is, but it is kind of a shame. I don't know. I've got a question for you. Is like how to make the Dakar Rally better, or how to solve some of the problems, and we'll get into this because I think a lot of people would like to hear this on this show, and then you can steal my idea, and then you can put it on your show, and because you have an expert,
I've been doing it for a long time.
yeah, you have Quinn Cody on your show, who definitely handles the expert duties quite well, and makes you look
Yeah,
good.
I'm not dumb. I bring people that are smarter than me on my show, and I started my show with someone who is smarter than me too.
That's good.
He's a
who
great
told-
resource. Quinn can really relate, like, to without the BS, fantasy forum warrior spirit that I have about the rally. He can cut right through that and be like, yeah, that's never going to happen. Like, nobody's thinking that. Like, that's not going to happen. You're out. You're stupid. Like, right away, because he knows like the reality boots on the ground sort of things that are going on. And I'm just out here in fantasy land, like always, like, oh, what did he do that? Did he slow down on purpose today? And he's like, no. There's only one person that slowed down on purpose this race, and that was Daniel Sanders. Nobody else is doing that on purpose. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. So he always checks me. So he's like the good, check system for my alternative reality.
I think I don't know, but I think there's a little more. No,
Shenanigans?
no. I think there's a little more strategy going on than you're seeing on the surface,
I think there is now.
Yeah, there is definitely, and I don't think it's. But the thing is, it's so hard for the riders to do because they you listen to any of them. A lot of them are riding all day by themselves, and they're not. And the only time they really have to gauge this is when they come into the fuel stop.
Right.
It's the only time you can, unless you're getting passed by a few guys, and then you could say, okay, I've slowed down this much, and there's ways to kind of do some quick percentages, but. Anyways, what is Tom Copelli Coapi? What's Tom's question, Jimmy?
Will the rally?
Coffee.
Yeah, Kopke actually, guys.
Kopke? Okay.
Kopke.
Oh, I can't see that, so it's not my bad,
No,
Tom. That's
You're
Jimmy's fault.
clear. Will the Rally Navigator software work well to pilot out of fire trail routes in northern Wisconsin? Will it work well with the TrailTech Voyager Pro and highlight the predetermined route, or will a small tablet be better? If a tablet, what's the best way to mount them?
So Jesse, on this show, we answer the questions with the authority of experts. So I thought since Rally Navigator is a sponsor of your show, I thought that you would be able to answer that question better than me.
I think what Rally Navigator would do for you the best is it's a very good mapping tool, whether or not you're going to do a rally or not, whether or not you're going to make a road book. It's very good at allowing you to draw a line where you want to go riding, or you think you want to go riding, and then exporting either a road book for that, or even just a GPX file. It'll make you a route. So if you exported a GPX or any of the other GPS style files out of Rally Navigator, you could load them into your TrailTech Voyager, and you could follow them around, as the little triangle following a line like you're driving a car. You could do that. But what I would recommend is making a road book out of it, and then trying to navigate through your route with the road book instructions. And you can do that with their free software that you can just put on your phone. You don't need a fancy tablet if you just want to try it.
You can actually on most tablets that app works on the tablets as well.
Sure.
So-
Yeah. If you didn't want to go out and buy something new, you probably already have a phone. Just download their.
You're
Rally
trying
Navigator.
to turn this guy into a rally guy.
I
He just
think the
he just wants to
experience
follow
is
a track
So
log.
cool. You have to try it, because when you ride that way and you get to experience like thinking about where you're going to turn instead of just following a line and an arrow, your experience on the motorcycle or whatever you're in is totally different. It's a totally different experience. And you start really being engaged in the whole ride. I did a couple road books with Quinn a couple years ago, and I got back and I said, I don't know where I was today, but I was having fun the whole time. I have no idea where I rode today. No idea. All I know is I started at the truck, I rode all day, and I got back to the truck.
You rode out at the Black Mountain Ranch, right? That's where you did this,
that
right?
one. Yeah, we did that day. Yeah.
And the funny thing is that's a horrible place to ride just in general.
Yeah.
I mean,
we just
like
needed that good base camp.
It's not the best as far as the riding goes, but when you're preaching to the choir here with like road books, you can actually ride someplace. And he said Wisconsin, roads, and I'm in northern Wisconsin, and I'm just going, I don't really know about the riding there, but okay. It
doesn't matter.
But I've heard guys that are in horrible areas say they started doing road books and it made their riding fun again because they were kind of burnt out on their areas. But anyways, it will work. Rally Navigator will work anywhere in the world because it's based off of, it uses, I don't know what they're using on the current version because did you guys drop the hints about RN2?
I didn't yet. I did get some information from Mike about it. So they are doing some updates to the software, and I'm sure you're working on their beta version heavily. To update
for the last year we've been using a newer
make
one.
It
so
caveman proof.
Right, because you saw me try to you should have seen me try to go on Instagram for the beginning of the show, and I mean I see kids go on Instagram, and if the kids can do it, well I should be able to do it. But anyway, so the new there's the new it'll be a desktop version as opposed to online based version. But so wherever it's using, whether it's using Google Earth like the current Rally Navigator or using something like Mapbox, which is what the new one uses, which is another mapping software. Anywhere that software works, anywhere you can get an image of the Earth, then you can do rally routes. I could right now. I could go and make a rally route in Saudi Arabia right now, of all things. Hey, you know how good this show is, Jesse? I just want you to know how good of a guest you are right now. You have put Mojave Bob to sleep. You put him. No, he's over there snoring with his mask on because he doesn't want to give Logan COVID. Like he
How do I know what you talked about before I got there that put Bob to sleep?
Well,
Good point.
that's a good. You couldn't hear everything that we were talking about on the show when we got started.
I was in the dark. You should have woke Bob up and said Jesse's coming on the show. He'd have been like, "I'm here for that." That sounds fun.
Just dozing off over there. It's the most exciting thing that he does all week, and he comes here and falls asleep. It's amazing. So anyways, you can export out the GPX files. You can put them on your TrailTech Voyager Pro. TrailTech is a sponsor of this show. The Voyager Pro, check out the new aluminum docks for your Voyager Pro, because if you want a little more robust, if you're really doing some off-road riding and you want to make sure that Voyager Pro easily comes on and off your motorcycle and stays there when it's on there and stays connected with power, check out the new Voyager Pro docks from TrailTech.
Look what I found in the corner of my clean garage.
Oh, look at that.
Bam.
Yeah, that's a nice TrailTech. I have we use those on our tours, which you're familiar with. You've been on a tour with Johnny Campbell.
It has my name on it.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, I know it's mine.
That's good, because if you would have left it around here, somebody would have stole it from sure.
That's why I want it. But I think to get back to Tom's point of trying to use Rally Navigator, you can use it for anything you want to do, anytime you want to make a route anywhere. But
do
great yourself
software.
a favor and make a road book. Just hit export road book PDF at the end of the process. Download their viewing app to view it on your phone or a tablet. Find a way to mount it on your bike just to try it and go out and see what it's like to navigate on a road book navigation.
Totally agreed. It's a great first step, and it'll just, like I said, make the riding even more fun, and then you and your buddies can go out and do rides. And
that's what I was going to say next is make your buddy ride it, but don't tell him what it is. Just say, "Here, you're riding this. Go," and then follow behind him and laugh at it when they make all the wrong turns.
Right. It's a little bit more difficult than you would think. So okay, back to back to the Dakar. Your show gets uploaded about 9 o'clock every morning during the rally.
I try.
You
I
try?
really try. I try to get it out the door by 9. We record for about hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on when people call in or who's available, because we're calling these guys in the bivouac in Saudi 11 hours ahead of us. So they're usually winding down by the time we get to the studio. And whether they had a good day or a bad day, or if they've been beat down or worn out from liaisons, or, you know, they're bummed out from losing time, we're kind of cautious about who we reach out to and call. And we don't want to burn any bridges because we want to, you know, keep them talking to us. So sometimes we got to be a little later, but we try by 9 to get everything done. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's amazing technology the way that it works. I mean, when I was over there, my dad would wait for like a fax to come from someone that was getting the information in France. You know, they would and they would like somehow be able to fax some results. And I think on my even in 2000, I think I called home to talk to my wife like 2 times, maybe 3.
Like on a satellite phone?
Yeah, it was a satellite phone. It had to be. Or yeah, it was a satellite. It was it had to be a satellite phone because there was no other way. There was no cell towers in Africa back then.
I mean, we've gone through the gamut of messaging platforms. When Skylar was still in the race, I'd send him a WhatsApp message, and then I would try to call him on WhatsApp, and WhatsApp wouldn't work. It'd be like blocked by the Saudi government, you know, internet tent, whatever they put up over their country. And then I'd send him I'd just call him FaceTime audio, and FaceTime audio would just totally not work. And they're like, no, all Apple devices are banned by the prince or something. And then I would send him another call, and he's like, try a Facebook Messenger call. And I'm like, okay, I'll try that. And I did it, and it was like crystal clear. And that's the episode where he's standing there and he's like, oh, hey, Mason's here. And he's talking to Mason. So we're having a Mason Klein, Skylar Howe's interview. And then he's like, hey, Matthias Wagner just walked by. You want to talk to him too? Sure. So then all 3 of them were talking to us on this Facebook audio messenger call. And I'm like, I'm glad this is working out. And it's all pumping into my computer and then somehow recording at the same time. But it was like, it's a crapshoot every time. We never know if it's going to work. We're like, well, maybe a phone call works. Like we called Johnny Campbell today, and we just called his regular phone number and it worked.
Yeah, but yeah, the technology, and even just like you talked about earlier, how Quinn can just kind of like look and see what the keyboard warriors are saying and all this conspiracy theory and the stuff like that.
From me.
I don't even like to look at it because it makes me angry. I mean, it's like I understand these guys are fans, and it's great, and then it's great that there's enthusiasm. But I like look at this stuff. I'm like, where'd you get that idea? It's like it's so foreign, and so again, I
plus the race doesn't really need any help being dramatic. It doesn't need more drama than it's already there. Like we're going into the most unpredictable 2 weeks of racing anywhere in the world. Like nothing is as complicated and as gnarly as this race, plain and simple. And like you can't predict what's going to happen for so long. You can only just kind of react to what is happening. And then now we get to the point where there's real cards on the table, and now you can start guessing. But literally, like the shit show could happen tomorrow, and Matthias Wagner and Sam Sunderland could lose an hour again.
Yeah. It wouldn't take much. So I'll tell you my conspiracy theory or whatever. And like I think I talked about it when you guys had me on. I believe it was on rest day, and I'd said that I don't like it when you hear guys using the words guess and luck when they're talking about how their day went. And I think especially on the
way, I got lucky.
I'm pretty sure on the first day that the note that really tripped everybody up and that little thing, that they're like I said, they've gone past tricky, and they've made it so that you're going to have to guess. You're going to have to do all the navigation and guess. And don't get me wrong, that there's some of these guys that are literally that's how they navigate. They kind of guess a lot, and then a lot of times they have tracks to follow. And some of the notes now, and you've seen pictures of these what we'll call double and triple notes, with very complex looking pictures. And when you learn how to look at that and how to take the important stuff out, filter it down into doing something, people would say, well, some people would just kind of guess at that note, but a really good navigator would know exactly what to do. And if you did exactly what you're supposed to do, you would come out and then the next note would magically appear. Not magically, it would appear because it's supposed to, because you did the right thing. But now you do the note just like the note's supposed to be done, and then you don't know whether it's right, and then it gets so it's. I think they went a little overboard, and I wouldn't be surprised if after that happened, that they kind of took a second look at some of the road books, and like I'd heard there was multiple guys making the road books, and maybe it was a certain guy, and that was his style, and to be vague, because I know that there's one of the map book guys is very, very vague. he purposely, because he thinks the navigation should be a lot harder, but at some point you still can't guess. So I'm thinking that they might have gone through the road books and had a second look at some of them, and then updated them so they don't have this. The next thing, and the next thing being said is that I know a lot of the riders and teams are paying real close attention to the descriptions of the course, and then the checkpoint times that are provided, like when the opening and closing of the checkpoints is, so to guess the speed average, as well as the description. And then when the organization says, hey, this is going to be a really tricky day, like yesterday was, it may have been a really tricky day and they kind of had to fix it, or are they just making that kind of a guess too?
It seems to be inconsistent. Today's stage was supposed to have really tricky navigation. They set everybody up to go into it nervously. So the guys that were leading out really kind of got spooked a little bit. Like Sunderland won the day before, came in today leading, and he was pretty nervous about it. You could hear in his quotes that he was like, the good news is I won a stage. The bad news is, I got to pay for it tomorrow. But it ended up being a pretty easy navigation.
What was his swing like? 14 minutes?
Today he lost not that much, honestly.
Because it seems like the normal swing. To me, it seems like it's between like a 15 at a minimum would be the minimum you're going to lose, and 25 would be the average.
It was, but just
2018
yesterday, or I should say, the day before yesterday and yesterday's stage, because they're racing now. It was that way until then. Now it was only 8 minutes yesterday. So Sam was leading yesterday, and he didn't finish he finished 13th today, but he only dropped 8 minutes. So it really, the whole race has gone like big gaps. Now they're just going sucking down. Like,
and
you get 13th and only lose 8 minutes right now, and you're in first or second place still in the general classification, which he is. He's in a sweet spot. But I mean, you say that, and then there's 700K of riding they have to do today. Like, so much shit can go wrong today. You look at kind of like the swing in times, and if they said difficult navigation, I would expect the loss in time to be more around the 20, 25 minute, 20, higher than 20, and then so who knows? Maybe they're just playing with it. Who's your pick? Who's your pick, Jesse? I know you guys do this on your show. We're going to do that on my show. Yeah, we do a lot of pickings. There's a couple of guys that are in really good spots. So there's sort of two waves right now, as you say, on the flop, basically, for people that are leading one day and then they have to lead out the next day, right? So really, Kevin Benavides, and he's kind of like in that middle zone. He did a really good job today. He's got a little bit of time to make up. He's got like 10 minutes to make up to get into the overall ranking. He's kind of on that bubble.
Like you say, if this flop is usually 20 minutes, 10 minutes is nothing. So anybody that's kind of within that 10-minute range, but it's sort of the way I look at it now. It's like which right, and which side, what day are you on? Like are we going to have a race on the last day? Is there enough time to be made up on the last day? Because they've even said that the last day is supposed to be tricky navigation. So
it's only like 130K. So look at this, like in the general rankings. So the top 6 guys are within 10 minutes of each other. The top 4 guys are in 4 minutes of each other. So they're all essentially tied.
it doesn't even count. Like
So
four,
if you think of
four
that,
minutes.
and then the swing, like on the outside of that swing, is 10 minutes away. So you're like, well, these guys are crushing it. So then you have to start looking at where they finish today and where they start tomorrow, right? Because really the timing is kind of tied. So now you're racing for a win almost at the end of the stage. Because if you can gain 15 minutes and there's only 4 minutes separating the top four, you're going to be quite a bit ahead.
Adrian Van Beveren,
Yeah. He's in a really good spot.
French rider, French
He's in a
team.
good spot because he's in the middle. He doesn't have to decide when he's going to race for the win yet. He can hang out. He can ride fifth place, and then he can hammer on the final stage.
Yeah, I think he's sitting in a really good spot. But I just
Really good spot.
I said my two they've got really sharp people on that team. You know, I know a few people on that team, and they've got a long history. And my old teammate Andrea Meyer Peter Hansel, Andrea, knows a thing or two about the rally. Her husband knows an awful lot about the rally. So
Andrew Short mentioned her in our interview. He
Yeah.
was really happy that she was on the team this year. You could tell that she was a big asset to the team.
Yeah, she knows what's going on, and just as a competitor, as a being able to manage a team and understand all that stuff. But like that team is sitting in a very good spot, especially after such a disastrous last year, and then a lot of like what I hear on your guys' podcasts, I can listen to the riders' voices, and there's a few guys, Kevin Benavides is one of them that's very upbeat. Adrian sounds pretty good when you hear his interviews and things. But I think it'll be interesting. I really wish
It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a big fight between those Yamaha and KTM guys. And Sam has obviously been in control for a lot of the race, and he's got 2 stage wins now. So Sam's got the potential to get in front and stay in front as well. I wouldn't definitely not count him out. So really, I mean, you look at the top 4, and then you add in, Benavides, who's just outside the top 5. It's probably going to be one of those guys, or John Beretta somehow freaking wins the rally finally.
Yeah, that would be
He's only 10 minutes out. He's 11.
Hey,
minutes out.
if you wanted to throw in the send it card, that guy has so much send it potential. It's not even funny.
And talking, we talked to Ricky and Nacho today in the motorhome, and it was kind of the first day after Nacho's won, 2 stages in the last 3, and you can really feel that they're upbeat and they're kind of happy about where they're at, even though Ricky's still 35 minutes back. Nacho's 32 minutes back. They know where they're at and what they're doing, and I think they're just going to go out there and just keep hammering down as much as they can. But they sound better, like you were saying. They sound like they're confident in where their team is and where they are in the race.
Yeah.
You know what happened earlier? They've left it behind them. Now they're just hammering out.
Oh,
So
they
it's
haven't
kinda
left
fun
it
to
behind. They're pissed. They're not.
They're pissed. They're pissed. Oh, Ricky was so mad at the rest of it. He was so mad, as he should be, for sure.
Right. It's you work all that. You work so hard, and then something like that just goes so quickly. But it's rally life.
It's
So,
Dakar. That's what everybody says.
anyways,
It's Dakar.
So you're on all the different podcasting apps. You can find.
Yep, you can find it anywhere that I know of that you can listen to podcasts. You can just search for it, in a browser or in any of your podcast apps, and you can listen to it. We also have a page up on Cycle News. There's a recurring story we update all the time, so you can listen to them on there too. There's players embedded there. We got an Instagram page, Dakar_rally_daily, that we post updates there and links sometimes. So it's pretty easy to
Awesome.
find the show.
Yeah. So
Fun
go
times.
through cyclenews.com and find it there. Make it easy for you guys, and send Jesse some questions. Ask
Yes,
Quinn
please.
the really technical questions, and
You can ask me, but I'm just going to ask Quinn anyway what the answer is.
right. And we'll keep in touch. Hey, I got a couple. So here's the thing. How do you fix the Dakar Rally, or is it broken? I mean, the funny thing is you ask, you couldn't have set it up to be better. And I just go back and think of all the things that they've done, getting rid of twin cylinder bikes, which
Yeah.
for me, I just you guys, that's so stupid. But because I really loved riding a twin cylinder bike. And then, just all the things they done, and then, switching to 450s, and it's like, God, 450s aren't rally bikes, and they're not. It's like they're rally bikes for girls. And I will go on record as saying this.
I'm not saying that.
It's like a rally bike, only slower. Come on. But they've done all this. So they did that and way back then when to get more manufacturers involved. And now look at it. There's KTM has 3 manufacturers, but there's like 6 or 7 manufacturers in there now that are in there fielding competitive bikes, fielding teams, making it so there's rides available. They're doing lots of cool things. I know one of the struggles they're having is to try to slow the racers down. And you hear about restrictor plates, which is stupid. I'll just say what I think. You hear about speed limits, which is stupid, because these two things are going to get people hurt. Because when you're paying attention, when you're going 150 kilometers an hour and you're paying attention to going 150 kilometers an hour because something's beeping at you or you don't want to get a penalty, you're not paying attention like you should be when you're going 150 kilometers an hour. And that's not slow, but it's where they want to set the kind of the speed limit at. And so I think that's them. And restrictor plates just wreck throttle response. And so when something starts going wrong, you're going to have a bike that's not going to respond, and that's how you fix a problem. So those two ideas should just be thrown off the table, but I think they're a little bit too far along to do it. And then the other thing is,
but I think you're right about the restriction rule, the speed rule. It's written, and I think everybody signed some petitions or notifications that they're against it as far as the riders go. But yeah, I mean, if you need more than 150 kilometers of speed to get you out of a situation, and your bike just simply won't do it, you're going to have to go slower all day, so you have that reserve, and you're going to be risking the time. Those guys aren't going to slow down. They're not going to.
It's racing. They're not going to slow down. And the quads currently have a speed limit, but the quads will barely go that fast to begin with. So this is kind of a self-regulating thing. But so and then the other problem is this big swing in, when you win a stage, the penalty you pay, coming back in the next day. And so I don't like to just bitch and complain. I like to offer solutions. And I think that the solution to all of this stuff is somehow working on the way that they're starting the bikes, the starting order of the bikes. So maybe, and they've tried a couple of these things in the past, and I'm not sure why they've gone away. But I always liked mass starts. I've always said this. I'm a big fan of the mass starting line. It's great for the TV. It's great for video. You get riders riding in packs. Then you can make the navigation ridiculously tricky, because then all of a sudden when this guessing starts going on, or maybe you kind of have to guess if they want to make the navigation that tricky, a smart guy can kind of sit back, and maybe a guy that wants to take a risk can take a risk and really, really go for it. I don't know if that would fix it, meaning that
I don't know either.
The most skilled guy wouldn't do it, but then also maybe they used to allow the winner to pick his start position. Like, where would you like to start in the order? Out of the top 10 or the top 15, and maybe even bringing the start times closer together again. So it's like 1 minute intervals. So there is some packing up, and I think that could be explored a little bit. And
I agree. I think that. Shuffling up the start order, maybe not a full mass start of the top 20 guys, but maybe it's 3 or 4 at a time. Maybe you're alternating, first and fifth and second and fourth and third and sixth or something like that. And everybody's still racing against the same clock. So you have some sorted system that start order gets mixed up, because right now it is literally a penalty to win a day later. And it's not just 5 or 10 minutes. It's been 20, 30 minutes. Last year we had 6 guys that were 20 minutes ahead every day. Then the next day it was 6 other guys lost that time. And it was just like annoying to watch almost, because you're like, what's going to happen next? I know that the mass start rule in the rule book is basically anybody that organizes an event should never do a mass start. That's how it reads in the rule book right now. It says we don't recommend them.
Yeah, I think I know they had some problems with it in the cars. They had some real big problems with it, and it does tend to create chaos, But
I think there's something there.
I
asked Ricky today. I was like, "Hey, are you going to get up with Nacho, and you guys going to be able to work tomorrow?" And he's like, "I probably won't see him." He's like,
Yeah.
it's 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's exactly 6 minutes, and then the 3 minute
Like,
gap.
he starts 6 minutes ahead of me. If I catch him, he probably had a problem. And then, I mean, maybe I'll see him at gas fueling, but
Yeah,
I mean, I
and
don't think I'll see him.
yeah, that's
So,
about it. So
so I
anyhow,
mean, if Nacho's leaving and Ricky isn't going to see him all day, then you're limiting, some tactical plays there. But I think there are some positives in the rally right now. I mean, if you look at Mason, like Mason's kind of an example of the future of rally sport in a lot of people's minds. And Zach Osborne was on our show today because he's a really big rally fan. And
Yeah.
he knows what we're talking about. Like, he's really smart about it. I was really surprised. He was like, I want to talk about Mason because he's a kid that saw rally when he was young, started racing. He said, that's what I want to do. And he has been a rally racer first. And he's probably going to inspire more kids that are, starting in desert racing to do that. And I think if the Dakar organization sees that, they're like, this is what we need. We need people that want to just do this, not do this as their second career after racing off road or racing moto or doing something like that. We need people that want rally as their first career. So I don't know.
yeah. Well, I
how to
mean,
do that with more classes.
it as far as a motorsport, it gets exposed. At least the Dakar. The Dakar gets exposure. You can make a living if you're good at doing Dakar, doing essentially one race a year. It's like the Tour de France. I mean, are there any other bicycle races in the world? No, just one.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the way that the Dakar is. Although there is a whole World Rally Series, and they're really trying. Now that ASO owns that, they're trying to bring that a little bit more to the forefront. So there's a lot of
They
stuff.
really are. With rule
Yeah,
changes
kinda
and a lot of stuff going on.
going in.
So-
So, anyways,
No, I
exciting.
think that shows some good stuff, but you're right. I don't know if it's broken or not, but it was on day one. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
exciting times. We got like I said, 4 more days.
I don't remember now.
Yeah,
Keep
exactly.
losing
It's,
track.
it's
3 or 4.
yeah, it's gonna be nuts. So if you want to keep up on it, you can
Yep.
listen to that guy doing limericks on TV when he talks about the races. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
surprised. Are
counter-
you writing for that, Jesse? Because it seems kind of like it's got a little bit of your writing style.
Nope, I'm not into poems.
You're not into the poems, yeah.
I'm into sarcasm and snarkism.
Snarkism, yeah. Well, you single-handedly destroyed Dirt Rider magazine. Look where that's at now.
You're welcome.
So it would have been so much better if you just would have kept doing my job for me, and I could have just been whatever I was at that thing. So awesome! Thanks for coming on the show again.
thanks,
Say hi to Quinn, the Crusher. Tell the Crusher,
Bright and early.
when they really want bikes crushed, call me.
Will do.
and
Get guidance.
and we'll see you in the near future. Maybe out on a road book.
I hope so. I've got the itch again, man. I'm jonesing. I want to go ride some rally routes.
Yeah, cool. Okay, that is Jesse Ziegler. Thanks for
guys.
joining. See everybody. Okay. Do we have a